Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys doing this evening? Can you believe it? It's a nighttime vlog. It is currently 10:57 p.m. on this cold Thursday evening, going into Friday morning. It's currently 28 degrees outside. Feels colder than that. And I just dropped off Tanya Jean. We went to go get a fountain pop and then drive around. I didn't get a fountain pop though. I got a cup of coffee. Vanilla flavored coffee. 50 calories, it said. And I put one equal, or the blue sugar packets in there. Sweet and low equal, whatever it is. Anyway. And then I also bought some Mega Millions, or whatever it's called, tickets. Because it's up to like $450 million. So, let's hope I win. Why? I don't know. Just because I want to. MICKEYMOUSE. I actually was going to vlog tomorrow morning like I have done the rest of the week. But Alex and I got done watching our show early tonight. So I was like, I'm just going to vlog now. And then I'm going to go home. I'm going to listen to my audiobook for like a half an hour. And then I'm going to go home and I'm going to be in bed by like 12:30. And still get like 8 hours of sleep. And still get up tomorrow morning early. And try to have a full day and get a lot done tomorrow. I had a really good day today, actually. So I got up early, vlogged. Then I went and did a review at Culver's. I reviewed the Cherry Bit Butter Cake Concrete Mixer. It's like a blizzard. It was really good. It was fun. I don't know that I've ever been to Culver's before. I feel like maybe way back in the day, because it used to be at a different location. It was like this round place, and you would go up there and you would order outside and sit out there. I feel like maybe one time I did, like a long time ago, but I don't remember. So I did that, and then I got home, and I was like running around and stuff. Oh, I was listening to Joan Didion's Slouching Towards Bethlehem. It's narrated by Diane Keaton. You guys, it is so beautifully narrated, and I didn't really know what to expect. I'm like more than a third of the way through the book, and I'm almost to the halfway mark, and it's so interesting. It's all these essays about the 60s. Part of what's interesting listening to it today is that she wrote most of them in like from like 1965 to like 1970, I think. The first couple ones are from that time period. And so it's like some of the things that she talks about it's interesting because of where those people or who those people are today. Like, for example, she wrote an entire essay on Joan Baez, who I adore, and who my mom loved. And my mom would play Joan Baez music when I was growing up as a kid, which is how I got to know her. And my mom just loved Joan Baez as a person. And so it's interesting listening to it, but written in like 1964. Because, you know, Joan Baez was famous, but she wasn't as famous as she is today. And so, you know, at that time hadn't accomplished all that she's accomplished today and stuff. So it's really interesting listening to it from that point of view. And the first one, I think I talked about this maybe this morning in my vlog. The first story is about this woman whose car catches on fire and her husband's asleep in the car, and so she gets convicted of first-degree murder or something. That story is very interesting. There's a story about John Wayne, and it's really just about perspectives of like the United States at that time. And you know, like I said earlier today when I was talking about it, I don't love nonfiction. But this book is really beautiful. I mean, it's very beautifully written. If you're somebody out there that likes essays that have never read any by Joan Didion, or you haven't read Slouching Towards Bethlehem, I would highly recommend it. And the Audible version with Diane Keaton, who's one of my favorite actresses of life, narrating it is just, it's unbelievable. I did talk about this morning because I was talking about Sissy Spacek narrating To Kill a Mockingbird and how I did not love that narration. Which is interesting because I do love Sissy Spacek. She's probably one of my top 5 actresses of life. So, yeah, it's good. It's really, really good. So I listened to a little bit of that while I was driving around doing some stuff. And then, or just driving around. And then I got home and I started uploading the vlog and the review video. Took the dogs out, let them run around the backyard. They're doing this thing now that is so funny. It's mostly Boo Radley. I'm kind of almost wondering, I'm like, is it because of our neighbor or is it because Boo Radley's just getting older? But like Boo Radley runs outside and then he just stops and he stands there and he goes, oh, and I think they do it because our neighbor's dog, like the second that they let him outside, he literally howls for the entire time that he's outside. And so I don't know if they're doing it because of that. Like Tucker does it too. Or if they're just doing it because of what. I don't know. But they're like barking like nonstop when they go outside now. They bark a lot inside too. Like if I even move like 1 foot, they start barking. And it was funny because Alex, when he came home tonight, it's like he walks all over the house, you know, obviously, because it's his house. And he's like walking here and walking there and going in the garage and doing this. And they don't bark. But like for me, if I walk like okay, to go, because I keep all my meditation books in this cabinet in the bathroom and on top of the counter. If I go into the bathroom to get the meditation books to do a Peterisms video, they start howling. They start barking. If I get up from the computer to move into the kitchen to get something like a cup of coffee, they start barking. But when Alex is home, they just follow him around. They don't bark at all. And I don't know why that is. I don't know if they're trying to tell me something or if they're afraid that I'm going to leave or I don't know what it is, but it's kind of cute, but kind of annoying at the same time because I'm like, why are you barking just at me, but not at your other dad? But they're so cute. Tonight, Boo Radley he was in the little pup bed that we have for them, and he gets right in the middle. He like digs and digs and digs, and he makes it like this little nest, and then he like sits right in the middle of it, and he gets real tied up, and he falls asleep in it. And so I got down there with him, and I got like real close to him in the bed. And I wrap my arms all around him. And you can kind of feel the cool air coming in from underneath the door. And I was like, I wonder if this is kind of why they like it. Because the bed is... Because like sometimes Tucker, like if he gets real hot, he likes to just like sit on the cool floor, you know? Because I think it like cools his belly. But like you could kind of feel just a little bit of air coming through the door. And I was like, I wonder if Boo Radley and Tucker like it here because the bed is so warm and cozy, but then you can it's like me with my fan, you know, like I like the fan on me in the winter. They're just so cute. So then Alex came home tonight. He was not hungry because he had a big lunch. They like brought lunch in today, and so they got to order all kinds of stuff, and he got a cheeseburger and french fries and a shake from this like from Five Guys, I think. And he was like, I was the only one that got a shake. I was like, okay. So then I was getting hungry and I was like, I don't know what to get. And Alex is like, what are you hungry for? So I ended up getting salad and a pasta from Puccini's, which is where we go, and cheesy garlic bread. And I got 2 different kinds of pasta because I didn't really know what I wanted to eat, and I'm glad that I did because the first one I got was like this like spaghetti cream sauce on linguine, but it was supposed to be on fettuccine and they put it on linguine instead, and I didn't. Oh, it was like not linguine, it was like these butter noodle things. I didn't really like them, but I liked the sauce. And then the linguine, I got basil pesto linguine, and I liked the pasta, but I didn't. The sauce was so much. It was like too much sauce. I've gotten that before. I've gotten it on angel hair pasta. So I ended up eating, and it really wasn't that much either. They had them in these little small containers. I ate all of the the basil pesto pasta and the linguine, but I ate all of the like, it was like a spaghetti cream sauce kind of. I ate all of that, but I didn't eat the basil pesto, all of it, like hardly any of it. It just was too much. I don't even know how to explain it. Then I ate some of the bread and I ate all of my salad. My salad was so good. It had like red onions and black peppers and cheese, no croutons, but it was really good. And we watched The Real Housewives of Orange County, which was good. They went to Cabo San Lucas. Heather Dubrow got them a house and she flew them private to Cabo San Lucas. Do you guys watch Real Housewives of Orange County? Okay, first of all, Emily and Gina are like my favorites ever on that show. I love Emily. I think she is so pretty. And Noella, I can't stand her. And I feel like she just is stirring stuff up to like be volatile on the show so she can like secure her place, but it almost kind of makes her boring because she complains about everything. So that's what we did. And then Tanya was texting me and she was like, or she called me while we were watching Watch What Happens Live. It had Shannon from the OC on it and Marisol from Miami, and we were watching that, and Tanya called me, and so I was talking to her for a second, and then I said something to her about getting a fountain. I didn't think she'd want to go because it's so cold outside. She doesn't like to go anywhere when it's this cold. So as soon as I hung up with her, she texted me and she said, "What time are you coming to get me?" So I said like 9:30. So I went and picked her up at about 9:30, and then we went and she got a fountain pop and I got this coffee. She got Hoosier lottery tickets. Somebody asked me on my Q&A, like, what's the collective term for people that are from Indianapolis? I don't know if there's a collective term for people that are from Indianapolis, but the collective term for people that are from Indiana is Hoosiers. Back in the day, like, I had this friend of mine, he had this t-shirt that said Who's Your Daddy on it, like, Who's Your Daddy, but also like, Who's Your Daddy? And I guess I need to spell it out, right? And I wish I had that shirt today. I'm sure I could get it somewhere online, but it was such a cute shirt. And then Alex was he had like a couple of shows he wanted to catch up on. Watch What Happens Live was bad tonight. Like, they play these games and like and they're supposed to answer like questions about like their castmates, and neither one of them really wanted to answer any questions. It just was boring. They were bad on there tonight. Yeah, Shannon and I think it was Marisol. I don't know who it was. I don't watch Miami. I've only watched one episode of it, and I didn't watch it when it was on before. Alex has watched. He's caught up on this season. So yeah, so that was my exciting day. Oh, I know what I was going to say. After I got home today, I uploaded my vlog. I rendered my vlog and I rendered the review video, and then I started uploading those videos. And I went upstairs to like change into comfy clothes, and because I was going to film some more videos, and I was like, why don't we lay down and take a little bit of a nap, boys? I told Alex today, I said, it's not my fault. I said, Boo and Tucker were the ones. They wanted to take a nap. It wasn't my fault. He started laughing. He goes, okay, sure. I said, no, Boo Radley, he really wanted to take a nap. It really wasn't my fault. And what am I going to do? Tell Boo Radley no, you know? So anyway, so we laid down and we took a nap. I think we laid down, I don't know, like 1:30 maybe. And I set my alarm for like 2:30. And then 2:30 I got up and I was like, I want to sleep a little bit more. And so I snoozed it like twice, but then I got up and I actually, because I had two alarms. I had like the alarm that I have to like get up out of bed and turn off. And then on my phone, I had alarms set as well. So I changed both alarms for like another hour. And then when that alarm hit, I like snoozed it for a little bit. So I got up about 3:45. It was wonderful. It was absolutely wonderful. I forget how much I miss napping like in the middle of the day or like in the afternoon, you know, because I'm so used to napping. What is going on with Peter Monn? I'm like getting like this regular schedule. There's something wrong. And the other thing is this, like, had I planned my time out a little bit better today, because I got up And then I just kind of like did a bunch of stuff before I sat down to start filming this video, because it was my plan to film 2 drama videos, a Peterisms video and a Peter Does Stuff video, on top of the vlog and the reviews video. I could have easily gotten that stuff done before Alex walked back through the door from work, and but I was kind of just like, I took time washing my face, and I was looking through stuff in the bathroom, and I have all these bags of stuff that I bought that I haven't put anywhere. I actually need to go through all of my stuff in the bathroom, and I need to get rid of stuff that I don't use or don't want anymore, because I have a lot of that I just put underneath the counter on my side, and then I need to put the stuff underneath there that I actually do use. So maybe I'll do that this weekend. Maybe that'll be a goal this weekend. And but when I got up, I did a Q&A for my drama video today. I don't know what time I filmed it. I started filming it at like, shoot, I don't even know what time it was. Oh, I don't know. I started filming it at about 4:30, 4:15, something like that. And then it went to like 10 after 5 or something, and then I started uploading it, and by the time Alex was on his way home, and I was like, okay, I'm not gonna push it. So that was it. Now tomorrow my plan is to get up early, film a bunch of stuff, take a nap in the afternoon, and then tomorrow night we're going out to dinner, which will be fun, and then we're going to this club for Latin night, which I'm really excited about. I think that'll be fun tomorrow night. So yeah, there's that. And I think that's it. January is such a boring month, isn't it? It's like nothing happens. Was it this morning that it was kind of like snowing a little bit, and I was real excited about it? And then I looked on the weather when I was done vlogging, and it was like there's no snow forecasted for like the next 2 weeks. And so basically what that means is just cold weather for the next 2 weeks, but no snow, nothing, you know? It's weird. And very dry too. It's weird that it's like we've had such a dry winter this year. I mean, not even really any rain. January. I mean, I'm glad that we have trips to look forward to, because we're doing the Valentine's Day in Miami, and then the girls' trip the first week of March, and Alex will be in San Diego, and then we're going to Florida the last week of March as well. So I'm excited about all of that. And then we're trying to plan this trip, you know, going down there. I'm hoping that Alex can work it out. He's got a lot of things that he's like got to figure out as far as like, can he be gone that long? Can he do meetings like through like Zoom and things like that? So it's really going to just depend on that. I mean, for me, I could leave tomorrow and be gone till June 1st, you know, and I'd be completely fine with that. But we're going to have to figure out if, or he's going to have to figure out if he can really do that or not. I hope so. I think that would be so much fun. We've already talked about it. And we've already started looking at places. What we would do is we would pack up the car like the day before, and then, or have everything ready to go the day before. And then, well, Alex really only works half days, because we would probably leave on like a Friday or something, Thursday or Friday, and then have everything ready to go so we can pack up the car, and then we would just drive down there with the dogs. And it's a long drive. We talked about, like, Tanya was like, why don't you just like do it in 2 days, like drive down there like 10 hours and the next day drive down there 10 hours. The thing is, I really don't mind driving, especially late at night. So Alex doesn't want to drive it at all. He's like, I don't understand why we can't fly. And I'm like, babe, there's so much stuff we have to take down there if we're going to be gone there for a month. Like, we have the dog's bed, my ring light, all my stuff for filming. I don't want to get down there and not have something because, you know, we were flying. I also don't want to pay a ton of money to fly with all that stuff, plus the dogs, you know, and all that kind of stuff. So I was like, and we're going to want to have a car down there. And he was like, oh, yeah, that's true. And I was like, so I don't want to rent a car for a month. So we'll figure it out. But if we could do that, that'll be a lot of fun. I'd be really excited to do that. Yeah, and then we would just drive that in a day. And then get to our place and then be there. Would that be so much fun? And get the dogs used to everything and... I wonder what Boo and Tucker would be like on the beach. I wonder if they would like the beach. I have a feeling, I want to think that Boo Radley would like it more than Tucker, but I actually think that Tucker would like it more than Boo Radley. I don't know why. Although, Tucker's kind of weird about some stuff. Like, he doesn't like to walk on the grass in the summer. And I don't know if it's because he's, like, allergic to the grass. I really don't know what it is. We can't figure it out. But, like, he'll go outside and he'll, like, walk all the way around the grass so he doesn't have to touch the grass. I was like, am I at 21 minutes or 27 minutes? He will, like, walk all the way outside the grass so he doesn't have to walk on the grass. Isn't that so funny? But that would be really, really fun. Excited about that. I think there's a new episode of Single Drunk Female out. I looked before I left Tanya's. So when I get this done, I might, instead of listening to my audiobook, I might go home and watch that before I go to bed. That show is really good. You know, watching those kind of movies and TV shows through the years, like, really have helped me. Like, in recovery. I've had some movies that I just absolutely loved, like recovery movies. Well, When a Man Loves a Woman with Meg Ryan. I love that movie. And it's a really, really accurate depiction of, like, what it's like to get out of treatment, I think. And that, to some degree, like, she has this, like, really close friendship with Philip Seymour Hoffman in the movie. And Andy Garcia, that plays her husband, he's kind of jealous of it a little bit. Not, like, from a romantic point of view, but he doesn't understand why she can't lean on him, why she needs these other people, you know? And I think it's something that really does happen in early sobriety. Now, it didn't really happen with me because I was single and, like, you know, other than the people that I started dating immediately. Tanya and I were just talking about that tonight. She was like, we were talking about, you know, suggestions in early sobriety, and she's like, yeah, I don't think it's great for people to get in relationships right when they in the first year of sobriety. And I go, well, I don't either. We were talking about a friend of ours, something that they had said about, it doesn't matter, but anyway, so we were talking about that, and well, this person had said that we know, and so we were talking about relationships in early sobriety. But I mean, basically, for all practical purposes, I was single my first year, and I mean, I was in a relationship. That is not great. I shouldn't have been in a relationship. But as far as, like, my partner not understanding, I mean, I was not in a deep relationship my first year, you know. So my partners weren't asking me. I wouldn't have even called them partners. I would have just called them boyfriends or guys I was dating. So they weren't asking me, like, why do you have to go to this meeting, or why do you call these people instead of calling me, and stuff like that. But I've had a lot of friends of mine. This is why sister programs like Nar-Anon and Al-Anon are really important, because they help family members and friends work programs as well and understand, you know, and Alateen as well, and Al-Anon and Nar-Anon for people that go to NA. And I've had a lot of friends of mine whose, like, spouses were like, I don't understand. Like, you know, before you got sober, you were at a bar every night. Now you're at a meeting every night. You know, I don't get that. And And I can understand why they would be frustrated by that, you know? But I also think that there's this thing that happens when you get sober, where it's like people that haven't gone through your same experience, it feels like people that haven't gone through your same experience, it's kind of like the sinking ship theory, you know, everybody going down the same ship, so, or going down in a, you know, sinking ship theory. I've never heard of it. It's like people that like have gone through similar things relate to one another, and it feels like that in early sobriety. Like, if you haven't gone through what I've gone through, then you probably don't really understand what I'm going through. And so you want to talk to people that it's like, you don't really have to explain a lot to them about, like, you can say, like, you know, I'm on day 10 and I'm struggling, and anybody that's been sober for a while will understand what that means, because they've been there, right? It's like that. You don't have to explain. So just, like, it takes away all of that, which is, you know, why strength is in talking to one another, you know, and they've proven that that is what works. So, but I loved When a Man Loves a Woman. I'm trying to think of other movies. There was a made-for-TV movie with Kelly Martin that I loved, and it was called Her Last Chance. I loved that movie. We used to show that in treatment all the time. It was a fantastic movie. And it really talks a lot about not being able to hang out with old friends in sobriety that use. It really addresses that a lot. And it also talks about using a sponsor and things like that. What other movies? 28 Days I love with Sandra Bullock. Although I feel like there's a lot about that movie that's not super accurate, and from my experience of going to treatment, working in treatment, and having visited and gone to other treatment programs, that's just not like, there's pieces of that that are very similar. The kind of like the camaraderie between everybody is like, that's a big part of it, I think, is like getting to know one another. Oh, I'll tell you the movie that I love is Clean and Sober, with Michael Keaton. That movie is really, really good, and I think very accurate. I actually watched that movie again about a year ago. That movie really helped me a lot when I got sober. I think that movie came out before I got sober. I don't know, whenever it came out, it really helped me. And then what other movies? Well, today there's so many of them. Oh, you know what movie I saw recently that I thought was really, really good? Was that movie 4 Days with Glenn Close. And that girl that was in, what's a movie about the ballet? Black, I want to say Black Sparrow, but it's Red Sparrow, Black Swan. Is that what it's called? Black Swan? She was in that, and she played a heroin addict in that 4 Days. That movie was really, really good, I think, in parents learning how to do it. Now, I didn't love, and I didn't even get through it all the way. I don't think I did. Maybe I finished it at some point. I don't remember. I didn't love Beautiful Boy, the movie, but the book is fantastic. The book is absolutely fantastic. I just didn't feel like, I'm like, did I get through that movie? Maybe I did. I don't remember now. What's the movie with Leonardo DiCaprio that was based on the life of Jim Carroll? Basketball Diaries. That movie was really hard to watch. Especially there's a scene when he's like banging on his mother's door, and he's like, let me in, and she's like, I told you no more, no more. And he's like, I promise, Mom, I promise. And she's like, sobbing on the other side of the door, and she's like, I can't let him in. That movie was really, really hard to watch. Another movie that I loved that was a made-for-TV movie was called Wired, and it has a beautiful soundtrack to it, and it was actually an MTV movie. We used to show this in treatment too. No, it was called Wasted. It was called Wasted. And I don't remember who was in it, but like two of the guys they're kind of famous, have been in other things. I feel like the one guy's name was Nick something, and he was in that show Carnival that was on Showtime or HBO. Do you guys remember that? I like him. He's been in a couple different things. But this movie was called Wasted. I think it was in Plano, Texas, and it was based on like true events that happened. And the whole idea of the movie was kind of based around, well, what had happened was it was about the opioid addiction. I mean, I think about this like it stopped. This movie came out like in the mid 90s, probably mid to late 90s, and it God, I wish I could find that movie. I'll have to look some of these movies up. And it talked about how in this upscale Texas town, the opioid epidemic kind of like came in and took over. And I can remember watching this movie and thinking, this is what's going to happen to every suburb in the United States. And true story, I mean, it is literally what happened to every suburb in the United States. And the whole movie is kind of framed around this idea of jails, institutions, and death that, you know, they tell us if you continue to use that you are promised jails, institutions, or death. And, which is why I don't really mess with it, which is one of the reasons why I work to stay sober today, because I've been to 2 and I don't want to go to 3. I don't want to end up dead as a result of my addiction. But the movie shows that. It shows there's this friend group, and somebody dies, and someone ends up in jail, and someone ends up in treatment. And it's a really well done movie. I think I related to the Kelly Martin movie, Her Last Chance, so much because she becomes a counselor at the end of the movie, and she's like real hard on this patient. This patient's like really upset, and she's not hard on them, but she's kind of like, I've been there, I know what it's like, kind of thing. What other addiction movies are there? I mean, there's a lot. I haven't seen, obviously, all of them. Those are like the big ones that I really liked. This whole lake over here is all frozen. It's so pretty. Let's see. So pretty. Camp Crystal Lake. But when I got out of treatment, I used to watch tons of those movies. Who's texting me? I used to watch tons of those movies. I loved them. You know what's really sick is that I feel like I can't remember a couple movies. I'm going to pull in here and I'm going to look up addiction movies. But there were like a couple movies that I watched. I would have to know, depending on what year they came out. Like, I feel like Clean and Sober I might have watched before. But there were a couple addiction movies. You want to talk about how sick this is? One of my favorite things to do was to drink and watch movies about like people getting sober. I knew I had a problem. I knew I was an alcoholic and an addict long before I ever went to treatment. I knew that. I mean, it wasn't my first time at the rodeo, first of all. But I would watch these addiction movies while I was like getting drunk in my apartment. I think about that and I think, God, it's just so disturbing, you know? Where can I turn in here? But I feel like there was like one movie that I loved to watch. See, this is what I didn't want to do. I didn't want to turn way down into somewhere. I feel like there was one movie that I used to watch that was about addiction and recovery, and I came in here and stopped one other night, I can remember. So I talked about everything that's in here. USA Nails, TJ's Sweet Tooth, Spherian, Spa, Cosmoprof, Team Rehabilitation, Physical Therapy, Uptown Smokes, Bliss Nutrition, Circle City Comics, Five Guys Pizza. Oh, that's Five Guys. Can't see anything. Addiction recovery movies. I know they're going to talk about that movie called Anonymous, and you know what? I've never seen it. Okay. Beautiful Boy, saw it. I'm going to go through all these movies. Oh, there's a lot of, oh my God, there's a lot of them. Beautiful Boy, saw it. It was okay. Requiem for a Dream came out in 2000, so I would have, what is going on here with the show? So I would have been, that movie was so sad, first of all. It came out in 2000, so I would have been 28 years old, and I would have been, what, 4 or 5 years sober? 5 years sober. Ben Is Back came out in 2018. I've never heard of it. 28 Days came out in 2000, so it would have been the same, came out the same year as Requiem for a Dream. Thanks for Sharing. I have not seen that, but I've heard about it. Is that with Pink? Gwyneth Paltrow, Mark Ruffalo. It's about sex addiction. Okay. Clean and Sober came out in 1988, and I got sober in 94. Less Than Zero, they consider an addiction recovery movie. I don't know about all that. Came out in 87. I love that movie, though. Train Spotting, I don't know that I consider that a recovery movie. Six Balloons, never even heard of it. Flight with Denzel Washington. Do you guys know? I've never seen that movie. Permanent Midnight, people always tell me to watch it. I haven't seen it. Oh, Days of Wine and Roses, that was so sad. A Scanner Darkly, 2006, haven't seen it. The Lost Weekend, 1945. I maybe saw it years and years and years ago when I was drinking. Walk the Line, love that movie, but I don't remember it being about recovery. 1955. What is this? Oh, The Man with the Golden Arm. Gia. Oh, God, that movie was so sad. Did you guys ever see that about the model? Drugstore Cowboy. Love that movie with Matt Dillon. We used to show that in treatment, too. Ray. Never saw Ray, interestingly enough. The Doors. Did not love the movie The Doors. I don't know why, but whatever. 1991, that movie came out. Traffic. Great movie. I don't feel like it had a lot to do with recovery. I mean, these are addiction movies, not so much recovery movies. Leaving Las Vegas was such a fantastic movie. Is somebody turning in behind me? Because I'm like way out here in the middle of nowhere. This parking lot. There's like nobody in here. Leaving Las Vegas is one of the saddest movies I've ever seen. I'm just going to go through these, the ones I do know. Because there's like Scarface is in here. I'm like, that's not a recovery movie. 13, such a fantastic movie, but very, very sad. Here it is, When a Man Loves a Woman. Oh, it came out the year that I got sober, 1994. Rush, Spun, I actually have seen, which is about meth addiction. Rush, oh, that is such a great movie. It came out in 1991, so I was getting sober, and that movie was already out. Rachel Getting Married. I feel like I saw that movie and I really liked it. Long Day's Journey into Night. Such a sad movie. Star is Born. When Love Is Not Enough. I think that's the Bill W. movie. Oh, it's about Lois Wilson, who started Al-Anon. Recovery movie. Recovery movies. Let's see what it comes up with here. Same movies. The Anonymous People, everybody talks about that. What is this movie? Recovery Boys. 4 men support each other as they try to rebuild their lives and mend their broken relationships after years of addiction. And oh, that's a documentary. I think Alex and I watched that actually one night. Maybe I did. Casino is a recovery movie. No, it's not. Leaving Las Vegas is not a recovery movie. Generation Found. What is this? Faced with a growing epidemic, the Houston community creates a youth addiction recovery system that offers an alternative to the war on drugs. Counselors, church leaders, executives, and professional athletes unite to create the recovery community. Oh, that's interesting. Top 14 movies to watch during recovery. This is by Pinnacle Treatment Centers. Beautiful Boy, Ben is Back, When Love Is Not Enough, 28 Days, Rachel Getting Married, Flight 2012, Clean and Sober, Requiem for a Dream, Basketball Diaries, A Star Is Born, My Name Is Bill W., Wild, Rocket Man, and When a Man Loves a Woman. So there you go. I want to see her Last Chance movie. I would do it. I've had that Meatloaf song stuck in my head. I think it's so sad that he passed away, don't you? Here's Her Last Chance. A widow's Patti LuPone's teen daughter Kelly Martin, fresh out of rehab, is accused of her boyfriend's murder. I don't remember it being about all that. Can you watch it? Oh, you can watch the whole thing on YouTube. Oh, it's all on YouTube right here. I just pulled it right up. I'm going to watch this tonight. So much for going to bed early, I guess. What's the other thing I wanted to watch? The other movie? Wasted movie. Let's see if that's Wasted MTV. I almost am positive that it was an MTV movie. Here it is. High school track star Nick Stahl watches without judgment as his two best friends, Summer Phoenix and Aaron Paul, abuse heroin. Where do you watch the movie at, I wonder? Apple TV, you can buy it, and Amazon Prime Video. I might have to just do that. So, it really helped me in early sobriety to watch a lot of those movies. It really, really did. So there's that. You know what I should do right now is I should change the battery. I'm not going to vlog for a whole lot longer, but it's at the halfway mark, so let me change it. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Do you know what I was just thinking? And I don't even know why I was thinking this. You know, first of all, it's so surreal to me that I'm 49 going on 50, okay? I don't even really know how to explain it to you, other than it's surreal. I definitely don't feel like I'm closer to 22, like when I got sober, but it also doesn't feel like it's been 27 years since I got sober, you know what I mean? It doesn't feel like it's been 30 plus years since I got out of high school. It just seems so bizarre. And the thing is, what's crazy about it is, like, if you had shown me my life today, well, first of all, I mean, we didn't even know what YouTube was, so how would I have explained it myself? How would I have explained to my younger self, you'll be making YouTube videos? I mean, I would never have understood what that meant, right? If I did understand, I think my response would have been, no, you're too scared to do that. Like, your social anxiety is too bad. You'll never be able to put yourself out there and share parts of your life and whatever. I think that would have been too terrifying for me to even imagine. My music was playing. I just downloaded this whole album called, well, it's by Shallow, I think is how it's pronounced. It's Shallou. And they do this song called Corners, and I love it. And it's like loungy electronic dance music, and so I like that song a lot. And so when I got on and I looked at the album, all of the songs were really good. They have a song called High Tide, and so the whole album was like $3.99 or something, so $4.99. So I was like, I'm just gonna buy the whole album. There's only like 5 or 6 songs, but I really liked the whole thing. And it was funny because when we were going to dinner, I think it was when we were, no, Alex was listening to it. He was like, oh, I really like this. He was like, what? It's always surprising to me because Alex listens to exclusively electronic dance music. It's always surprising to me when I find somebody or listen to somebody, you know, that he doesn't know. In fact, like, I listened to Rufus Du Sol's whole new album before he did. He was like, what'd you think? I said I didn't love it. But I love that song, Treat You Better. That's kind of our song, he and I. And today it's kind of our song. I think because we've kind of discovered that song together at the same time. I love the Purple Disco Machine remix version to Treat You Better. Oh God, I love that song so much. We were traveling somewhere and we were both listening to it on our headphones at the same time. We're like bopping. So it reminds us of just hanging out and being together. But, you know what's interesting is when I think back of like myself in high school and just like, you know, I still have these images of myself being just absolutely just ridiculously intoxicated, eating any kind of pill, doing all these different things, and all the dangerous situations I put myself in. If you had said to me on any of those days, Peter, in 20 years, you know, your life is going to look drastically different, and you're going to be doing this, or you're going to be doing that, or whatever, you know, like, I would have never believed it. Not in a million years, I wouldn't have believed it. I just don't think that I could see out of it, you know? Like, I just couldn't see out of it. And I think that was... This camera's done pretty well tonight. And I'm like, just don't start messing up now. The thing is, I think my fear was... I couldn't imagine my life without drinking or using. I didn't know... It wasn't even the boredom factor, in all honesty. It wasn't even the... well, my life is going to be boring, or I can't go and do this and have a drink. I mean, yes, that was a part of it, and I definitely did think of those things. But more than that, it was absolute fear. I don't think I ever would have got sober if I had to walk myself into a meeting or I had to walk myself into treatment. I think if the condition of that, what happened to me, you know, wrecking my car and me not really having any other options, or, you know, any options that I wanted to take, you know, I don't think that if that hadn't happened, I don't think I'd be sober today. You know, in fact, sometimes I wonder, like, I think I even talked about this on here not too long ago, what had happened if I had made it home that night, or if I had not, like, wrecked my car? You know, would I still be out there drinking? I had no desire to get sober. So for me, when people say, like, well, you have to have desire to stay sober. No, I don't believe that. I absolutely, I'm an example of that. I didn't want to stay sober. And when I did get sober, for my first, whatever, couple months or weeks or whatever, I was only doing it to get people off my back. I wasn't doing it because I wanted to be there. And I sure didn't relate to anything that anybody was saying to me. And I thought everybody was a bunch of old people, and I didn't believe that they were staying sober. And if they did, it was probably because they were super religious and they weren't really alcoholics or addicts to begin with. Because how could they possibly go that long? I thought they were just full of it. And I didn't want anything that they had to dish me out. I didn't want to hear any of it. You know, especially if it was real churchy and all that kind of stuff. I just was like, I'm not here for all that. So, you know, that's kind of, I'm going to turn around here and go back the other way. But that, so I can watch that show, I think. I'm going to watch it. Well, I'm listening to a little bit of my audiobook and then watch the show. Not the movie. I probably won't watch a movie tonight. But I do want to watch that movie. I think I'm gonna watch Single Drunk Female. I wish this camera isn't gonna start doing this now. It's gonna drive me crazy. You know, and I didn't do tons of step work right when I got sober, and I didn't do everything my sponsor told me to do, but I did do a lot of it, and I did show up to my meetings, and or to the meetings, and I didn't drink, and, you know, my sponsor would say, shut your mouth and open your ears, you got nothing to share, because I thought everything I had to say was gold, and he'd say, you don't have anything to share, you don't have any wisdom to share with us, trust me, okay, you need to just sit there and listen. And so, most meetings, my first 6 months I passed, I didn't share anything, because my sponsor told me, don't share anything, you don't have anything, you shut your mouth and open your ears, you need to just learn to listen. Because I'd be like, well, I think that you don't need to think. You don't need to think. You need to shut your mouth, see? Don't think. I'll tell you what to think. I'll tell you what to do. Just sit there, okay? Go get a cup of coffee and sit there and listen to what people are saying and take it in. Well, I don't necessarily agree. You don't need to agree or disagree. You just need to sit there in that seat and listen to what people tell you, okay? Period. Listen to their stories. That was what ended me up with having to carry this notebook around to meetings, because my sponsor would say, I'd say, well, I don't relate to any of these people. He'd say, okay, so you're going to take this notebook to meetings, and whatever anybody writes down, you're going to write down too. So if they say, like, I'm from Indianapolis, you're going to write down, I'm from Indianapolis. If they write down, I'm an alcoholic or I'm an addict, you're going to write down, I'm an alcoholic or I'm an addict. If they write down, you know, like, whatever, just any of those things, you know, I like dogs, I like dogs. You know, I like coffee, I like coffee. And he goes, you're going to start looking for the similarities and not the differences. He goes, because you want to think you're unique and that none of this applies to you and that you're different. And he goes, and that thinking you're different is going to get you right back out to where you were before. And your best thinking got you here, and your best thinking is going to get you right back out the door where you were again. And I thought to myself, how does he know? But honestly, I thought to myself, he is so full of crap, but he's 100% right at the same time. But I just didn't want to admit it, you know? But I do think that that fear, this was the real deal. I had tried so many times on my own to get sober and couldn't do it. Legitimately sat there and would buy a case of beer, you know, and do this and all kinds of stuff, right? And be like, this is the last night, I'm not ever doing this again, and tomorrow I'm quitting, whatever. Just to wake up the next day and be like, I can't, I cannot, I have to drink today. I'll do it tomorrow, but I can't today. And there were just so many of those days that I just was like, I can't do it, right? That I was like, I have to do, you know? So for me, once I got a few days sober, a couple weeks semi-sober, because I had been in treatment, which I think is pivotal, I think it was really important that I was away from being able to make my own choices. I mean, I could have just walked out the door, but I didn't. And so I had some clarity, and I wasn't going through physical withdrawals really anymore, because I had been detoxed. So it was the mental craving. Well, you know, I picked up the phone and I called people, or I went to meetings, or whatever. On that level, I did do what people told me to do. But I look back on that first 6 months and I think to myself, it was just enough for me at times. I guess maybe more like the first 3 months. It was just enough for me to just not pick up, you know, just to not pick up for the day. And I also went to a lot of meetings at the treatment program that I had gotten sober in, because that felt like super safe for me going back there. I went to an alumni meeting there every Thursday night. I went to a Monday night speaker meeting there. I went to a Sunday morning, it was called the Breakfast Club meeting, and they had donuts, and I loved that. And I saw for a while my friends that I'd gone to treatment with, and then over time, people faded and faded and faded until I was the only one left, and then it felt really lonely. I will say this, I didn't have as much fear back then in going to meetings that I didn't know people at, like I do today. I mean, I would have gone to any meeting back then. I almost kind of sought out meetings where I didn't know people that were in other parts of town that I didn't know. I don't know why. I also went to a lot of meetings where people were willing to drive me, you know, because if somebody was going to a meeting and they called me and they said, hey, I'm going to such and such meeting tonight, do you want to go? And I'd be like, yeah, sure. And I just, you know, did a lot of that. There's a clubhouse here in Indianapolis that was like centrally located, and I was there a lot when I first got sober. And they had meetings like every hour on the hour. And they had like this little they still have this little like canteen cafeteria place. And they would have like, you know, cheeseburgers and hot dogs and stuff like that. And this guy that worked there, he was so nice. And, you know, I didn't have any money. I wasn't working. I was just going to meetings all day long and trying to stay sober. My plan had been to go to school, but then like a couple days in, I was like, I can't do this. Like, I can't try to stay sober. And that's probably the greatest gift my dad ever gave me. I went to my dad and I said, I can't do both right now. And he said, well, what do you need? And I said, I need like some time to get sober. And he said, okay, I'm giving you 1 year. Well, he gave me until, this was in January. He gave me, I still call my dad every year on my sobriety birthday and thank him for all of this, and we talk about it, but he gave me until August of the following year because I needed to, at that point, either be back in school full-time or I needed to have a full-time job. Because he was going to be done, you know, supporting me and helping me at that point. He was so fed up with all of it. I don't honestly think, I mean, I think he said this at times, that he thought I would ever make it that far. I really don't think he thought I would. I don't think he thought I'd make it a month or two. And, but I did. I was telling this story and I started talking about a friend of mine who, she's a friend of mine that got sober with me way back then, and I said her name and stuff. But anyway, so yeah, so my dad was like, you either need to get a full-time job or you need to be in school by August. And but anyway, I was going to a lot of meetings with my friend, and she was still working, you know. And then I started working, and then I went back to school summer 1, which would have been, I think, the end of April, beginning of, I don't know when that would have been, end of May, beginning of June, maybe. I went to both summer sessions for school and to start finishing up my degree. And then so by that August, I was working full-time and in school full-time and going to meetings every single day. Like so long ago. You know, it's like I never really had a plan either for like how it was all gonna work. Like I just put one foot in front of the other. Like I think by the time that I signed up for summer classes, do you know the only way that I know what classes I took? You guys, this is so funny. Is because that's when I dated Todd, that I've talked about, that passed away a couple years ago. I don't remember what. I think that's when I took. I needed to have some extra classes to graduate. I don't remember what they were, but I took, because the physical science class, I needed that for graduate school. So I think I took that in the fall, maybe. I don't remember. But that was why I took that biology of women class. But that I first took anatomy and then took the biology of women class. But that spring, summer, it would have been summer 1, because he ended up going down to IU in the fall. And I actually, the last time that I saw him before we broke up, or right when we broke up, was this Carmel Fest, and it was this 4th of July thing, and we were not in class together at that time. So summer 1 would have been over, and summer 1 and summer 2, like summer 1 ended right before that, and summer 2 picked up right after that and went to like the beginning of August, I think. So that would have been right. We were in summer 1 together, which I think would have been like, it's only like 6 weeks. So I don't know when it would have started. But anyway, I took intro to film and Todd was in my class. And I remember he always came to class like, and his hair was wet. He had really, really curly dark hair. It was so cute. And he, in these round rim glasses, and he was real tall. And he always came to class like real wet, like he had just gotten out of the shower. And he always smelled like Woodland from Bath and Body Works, because that was the cologne that he wore. And I remember he wore this green and white striped rugby shirt that he got at Old Navy, and he wore these green socks, and he had these shoes. Do you remember that brand Simple? He had these Simple skater shoes that he wore, and I loved them. We didn't really date for that long, but it was pretty intense. I really, really fell for him fast. remember he said I think he went down to IU early. I think he went down there like in July, because that was why we broke up, was because he wanted to go and move to Bloomington to go to school, and he didn't want to be in a relationship when he went down there. And I said, I don't want to stand in the way of your happiness. I don't want to stand in the way of your future and what you want to do. And I had no desire to move to Bloomington, and it's so weird thinking about that. God, it seems so long ago. He and I would sit on my couch and just talk for hours and hours on end. He introduced me to a lot of really good music. I actually think I found the Dave Matthews Band from him. He loved that song, The Proudest Monkey, and he used to always say that it reminded him of me. I don't know why. That song and a Christmas song, the Dave Matthews Christmas song, reminded him of me, those two songs. But he used to play all this, like, really out there music, because he was in a band with his brother, and he played bass. And he actually wrote me a song. God, I should look for it. I have it in the basement in this box of all this stuff. And he wrote me a song called St. Peter. I wonder what I would think of that song all these years later, But, I think about those first couple months sober, and I think about a lot of snow that year. And I can remember, getting up and making my bed. I love that they talk about that in that TV show, Single Drunk Female, because that was like a big part of me, like getting sober. My sponsor was like, you have to make your bed every day and keep your apartment clean, and I'm going to check. And he did too, And so I would make my bed every day very nicely, fold my clothes. I think that's partly, well, I love doing laundry anyway from when I was a kid, but my laundry was like immaculate. First thing I do every day is make a pot of coffee in the kitchen. My dad had got me a new coffee maker, and I was so proud of that coffee maker. It was like this red, I think it was red, this red Mr. Coffee. It was so basic, but I was so proud of that coffee. And when people would come over, like after meetings, and I'd be like, do you want some coffee? I could put some coffee on. I was so proud that I could make coffee. I really could. It was like one of the first human things that I could do. It was like, I felt like an adult making a pot of coffee. I made pots of coffee for years, like growing up with my mom and stuff like that. I did, whatever, the percolator. Here, this is for Troy. It's time for the percolator. It's time for the percolator. But it wasn't like I had never made coffee before. Come on, camera. It wasn't like I had never made coffee before, but I was like, I don't know, there was something about it that made me feel very, very adult. So people would come over and I'd be like, do you want a cup of coffee? I have mugs. Oh, man. And then every night I would read my basic text and my meditation, my Amy Dean that I still read, Nightlight or whatever it's called, nighttime meditation. I would always read right before I went to bed, sitting on my couch, and then I'd go brush my teeth and I'd go get into bed, and I can see myself. I had this well, it was funny because I had this big ashtray in my bedroom when I was using, and I would wake up, I can't even tell you, thank God I am still here, because I can't tell you how many times I woke up with that ashtray turned over and just cigarette butts everywhere in that bed when I was drinking. It was so gross. And it was this big ashtray that I had. I think it was like my mom's or something when I was growing up, and it was this huge glass ashtray. But then when I got sober, that ashtray moved into my living room, because I was an adult, and adults don't smoke in the bedroom. That was how I thought. I was like real serious about that. I was like, oh no, you don't smoke in the bedroom, you're an adult, God. So anyway, I I can see myself. So the couch was here, and then on one side of the couch, like, I had this little table, and I had a lamp. All this stuff was all hand-me-down stuff. It was this green lamp, a tall green lamp that my mom and my dad had in their first apartment. And I would have it over there, you know, and, like, I would come home from going to a meeting, and, you know, if I didn't go out to, like, that person literally just ran a red light. I mean, straight through going 50 miles an hour. I'm sitting at a red light. Literally. Did you see that? So anyway, I would come home, and I had like a wood-burning fireplace, and so I would come home and I would like make, if I didn't, you know, if it wasn't too late, I would put like one of those fire starter logs and like one log on, and then I'd make a pot of coffee, and I would, you know, watch a movie. And it was like, I would watch some of these recovery movies like every single day. Like, my dad went and bought me a bunch of these movies, and so I would watch a bunch of these movies like every single day, or, you know, I had other movies that were like favorites, To Kill a Mockingbird, stuff like that I would watch, you know. But I would watch a movie, and then I would sit there and I would drink a cup of coffee, and I would put on my pajamas. I had like, you know, pajamas where, you know, the pants and the shirt, and I was adulting. So I think sometimes I would come home and take a shower and then put the pajamas on, and then I would sit there, and then, you know, when the movie was done, I would read like 10 pages in my text, and I would journal, and I would do like gratitude lists and stuff like that, and then I would read my meditation book, and then I would go and I'd say my prayers, and then and my prayers were very basic back then. Please keep me sober, you know. And who are all these people that are texting me? And then I would go to bed. And that was like my days in early sobriety. And then I would get up. I didn't stay up super late back then, you know, interestingly enough. I'd stay up till probably 12:30 or 1. And I would get up fairly early, and I went to morning meetings, and I would go to a noon meeting and an evening meeting. Not always 3 meetings a day, but a lot. Went to at least 2 meetings a day every day for my first couple months. I might have gone to 2 meetings a day for my first 6 months or a year. I used to have a calendar, and I would write down every meeting that I went to, and it also had how many days, because, you know, we didn't have the apps back in the day that could track how long you've been sober, or, you know, follow how long you've been sober. So I would write down on my calendar how many days I had sober. I was so proud of each and every one of those days. And yeah, it was good. It felt nice, you know. So crazy. My apartment, well, I think I've shown it on here before. My apartment that I got sober is literally like 5 minutes from here. You guys want to see it? Okay. I think I've shown it on here before. Since I'm going down memory lane tonight anyway, I might as well drive over there and show you. I had this big window that looked out over the parking lot from my bedroom. My back windows, because I had one on the landing too, looked out over the woods. And I love this apartment. Do you know what one of the things that's the most interesting to me about that apartment was that you know, a lot of people where they use, they can't get sober. But it felt very safe to me either way. I don't really know how to explain it, except for that it just felt safe for me. Like even though that was where I used, like, you know, when I got sober, I think it was this friend of mine, but it might have been my first sponsor, I can't remember, came in with this huge these trash bags and was like, okay, we're gonna take down anything alcohol related in this apartment. This was like day 1 or 2 of me being out. And I mean, I had my entire kitchen, like the top of it, like lined with these wine bottles. And he like made me like throw all of these like wine bottles in these trash bags and have like margarita glasses, martini glass. I mean, I was like, I am not really sure I'm sticking around. I've invested a lot of money at Pier 1, okay, on these cocktail glasses. I am not really sure that I am sticking around to throw all this stuff out. He's like, throw it out, throw it out, throw it out. So I'm throwing all this stuff out, right? You know, everything. I had wine bottles with candles in them, you know, in my living room. And you remember we used to do that? It would like go down the side. It was very cool and all that kind of stuff. But I wasn't convinced that I was going to stay sober, and I was bitter. And he was making me, I mean, we went through he's like, do you have, you know, substances hidden in this house? I was like, no, yes. My dad had already looked, and he had found quite a bit. But then we went through, and we got all this stuff. And there was like these bags, and he's like, okay, let's go take this out to the dumpster. And so I like picked up a bag and I started walking out, and I was like, aren't you gonna help me? And he was like, oh no, this is your burden to carry, or something like that. He was like, it's yours to, you know, carry. I'm not, you know, I have my own history to carry, kind of thing. And I was like, okay. I didn't really, like, that was the kind of stuff that I didn't really understand in early sobriety. I'd be like, you can't just help me with a bag. And he'd be like, no, it's yours to carry. Like, this was your, you know, drinking career, you do it, kind of thing. I can't remember if it was my sponsor or this guy. I was friends with this guy in early sobriety that took me to a lot of meetings. He was really nice to me. And sadly, he had a lot of mental health issues, and he later had kind of like a break that occurred. And he's okay today, but it just was really sad. He kind of had a really sad life. But you know what? He was genuinely one of the kindest people ever to me, and took me to so many meetings when I first got sober. It was so nice to me. And really, really great person. Another person that I probably wouldn't be here if it wasn't for him, you know? I have quite a few of those in my life that I wouldn't be here. But anyway, I was never really afraid of staying in this apartment. Like, I never, like, well, first of all, my dad had the apartment professionally cleaned. He, like, I mean, it was like walking into a different apartment. Like, he had, like, you know, everything new on there. I think he even got me, like, a new comforter and stuff and sheets, because my comforter was, like, had cigarette burns in it. I know he had my coat professionally cleaned. New coffee maker. He had gone to the grocery store. Did we go to the grocery store? How did he go to the, I think he went to the grocery store, and he had like filled the grocery with like, or filled the refrigerator with like all these juices and like lunch meat, like good lunch meat, you know, like boar's head turkey, if it was something like that level, you know, and ham and bread and cheese and all this kind of stuff. And which was really hard for me, because I was like, this is so crazy driving in here, because I was like, you know, here's my poor dad, like, buying his son a coffee maker because he just wants to imagine this. I mean, it used to really get me. I could get sobbing. You know, here's my dad just wanting to imagine his kid having a cup of coffee and just staying sober one day at a time, you know? So I actually really loved this apartment, and this apartment really, really, really helped me stay sober for a while, because I felt super safe here. And here it is, right here. There was the door that you walked in. And then do you see that window at the top? See, that's how the, I don't know if you can see it, but people are probably like, okay, do you see like there's that landing up there? That's what my landing was like, but the window was actually up there. I don't know if you can see it. That was like what my bedroom, that was my bedroom window right there. It's crazy, isn't it? This is where I used to live. My first apartment ever. But I have to say, like, when my first boyfriend and my roommate, we moved into the apartment together, because this is where we, like, I moved from here into that. I was really ready to go. Like, it was time to start a new era. You know, I was ready to start a new era of my life. And I'm really thankful that I had that opportunity, you know, with him. And with my old roommate. She was my best friend at the time, you know, and she was super supportive. And, yeah, I needed that. Like, I think at that point, I was getting kind of stagnant here, and it was like I needed to move. I needed to change some things up, and it was good for me to move, so. It's so weird seeing that. Like, it has been so long since I lived there. I can't even remember when so if I moved out of there, like January of the year after I got sober. So I got sober in 94. Then 95, that would have been 96 that I moved out of there. January of 96. So what is that? 96 to 2006, 16. So, wait a second. 96 to 2006. It's been 26 years since I lived in that apartment. That seems surreal to me. That seems absolutely surreal. Like, if I walked in there today, it would really not feel like my apartment. I mean, it doesn't, you know. I have, like, really no emotional attachment to that apartment anymore, but it got me sober my first year. I think it's actually really good, probably, that I did come back there and had, like, a good year sober after having used so much, because I had a lot of bad memories and bad recollections, you know, and things that I attached and memories to that apartment. That it was probably good that I came back and I had a year in that apartment, so that I didn't look at necessarily just that period of my life in a really sad, negative way, you know, just sad and, you know, bad things, I mean, addictive things happening, and that it was, you know, a good year, a positive year, a happy year, a sober year, a positive year. So anyway, all right, little show and tell for you, a little field trip. I'm gonna get off here now. I actually had planned to not vlog as long. I was gonna vlog for like 45, 50 minutes tonight, and I ended up vlogging longer than I thought I would. So I'm gonna get off here now, and yeah. If nobody else has told you this today, I love you. If nobody else has told you this today, I love you. Don't forget that you can start your day over whenever you want. Practice random acts of kindness. And most importantly, make sure that you reach out to somebody and let them know how much they mean to you. And if nobody else has told you this, oh, I already said that. If nobody else has told you this today, I love you, I love you. And I hope that you guys are having a magically amazing Friday. A wonderful beginning to your weekend. I love you guys so much. Have a magically amazing weekend. I love you, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye. Love ya. Oh, and if you happen to stick around, if you want to hear it, you need to hear it, or you just happen to stick around, one more I love you. I love you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Love you. Happy birthday, Lena.